Hey everybody, Danner here. I'm going to try to keep this video short, and really because it calls so much back to what we've done in this unit that I don't think there's a whole lot of explanation to provide, because it's just very similar to assignments that we've done in the past. So the summative for this unit is right here. So if you go to classwork in your Google Classroom, it was posted. There's unit 4. There are 3 total assignments. The first one, how and why did the U.S. build a transcontinental railroad? That's just talking about, what benefit the U.S. got out of getting this railroad, and kind of like the way it was built and how the workers were treated and how they were paid. There was some good, a lot of bad in there, which is fine, but that should allow you to look at this argument from either side. There's a video for that assignment, so make sure you look at that if you need some help. And then we looked at how the government began to exploit or take advantage of the indigenous people that lived on the land where the railroad went. And that, there's a lot of very negative stuff of how the U.S. government acted during that time. The whole purpose of this was to look at this idea of, does development mean progress? Which is really what I'm asking is, as the country grew and expanded, was the country getting better? And that's the key, is that definition of that word progress, or just better, is going to be entirely up to you to define. What do you mean by, what do you think progress means? What do you think better means? And there's not a wrong answer there. Okay, so I don't want you to think that you need to say one thing just because you think it's right. I want you to just be able to defend an argument and provide some evidence, provide some explanation for that evidence. So again, I just went over what we covered. Looking back at our unit, those were our topics that I just went over. Again, the purpose of this was to look at how the U.S. was able to grow and develop in the late 1800s. Now it's up to you to determine, did the country truly make progress? So you're going to write a paragraph. It can be, that typical 3.8 or 8.3 paragraph with 3 pieces of evidence, 8 sentences total. It can be, I'll accept 2 pieces of evidence and 6 sentences, honestly. I'll give you a quick model down at the bottom. But again, those terms, development and progress, they're going to have different meanings. So just make sure you know that, development, I'm talking about like the growth and expansion of the country, and progress is just the idea of like, was it really improving or getting better? So the first thing you have to do here is just answer, like, do you think, based on everything we looked at in this unit, did the U.S. get better? Did the U.S. progress due to the development that they were making and the expansion? And this is just a simple yes or no. Yes, no, whatever you want, whatever you think is right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to look back at the topics that we covered in class. And you're going to come up with just 3 pieces of evidence that you could use to defend your claim. And I'm going to give an example for either side. So if you said that, yes, development means progress, and the country is getting better as it grew and expanded, one thing that you could potentially look at is right here. This is talking about the amount of money as the railroads were being grown, like the amount of money that was just being made. And that wasn't just for the rich people, and this was creating jobs and things like that. And again, I'm not saying they were the best jobs in the world, but it was giving people paid work. So you might want to say there were millions or even billions of dollars being made building these can't type, railroads. That's a good thing. Even if it is making, a couple of people rich, it is still providing jobs for people. So there were just millions or even billions of dollars being made. So that's just one piece of evidence that you could use for, like, yes, development does mean progress. Now, if you want to say that no, development does not mean progress, you can look back to, let's talk about here. There it is. Let's go with the buffalo. I haven't given that example yet in any of my classes. So The buffalo. This is talking about showing the buffalo settlement and how, this is, that light color was where they were much earlier, like in the 1820s, 1830s, and by like the 1870s, 50 years later, they were confined to just those small, darker areas. So you can talk about no, development does not mean progress while the country was expanding and growing. The settlers were wiping out populations of animals around the country, around the continent, especially the buffalo. So that's just one way, and then you can also talk about just the way that the natives were treated, the indigenous people were treated, the way that the workers were treated, and just find three. There's a lot of evidence from those sources that you can find. But I want this to come directly from the sources, not from Google or anything like that. I've provided plenty of sources, so make sure that you're using evidence from those sources. And then really all you're doing is answering this question in a paragraph. So for example, like you're going to start with your thesis statement. Yes, development means progress, or no, development does not mean progress because. So like, yes, development means progress because, and give the couple of reasons, and then those reasons are going to be like your main points that you're going to talk about in your paragraph. So there's your thesis sentence, first one. Then you're going to use your first piece of evidence. So you're going to take this piece of evidence right here, evidence number one, and put it down here. That's your first piece of evidence that you're going to use. It can be, well, yes, development means progress because of all the money that was being made. And then you go back, pull your piece of evidence that talks about the millions and billions of dollars that were being made, and put it down here. Then explain. Your reasoning is going to just explain why is that a good thing? Why is that helpful to our country? All right, so I hit pause there for a second and kind of lost my train of thought. So if there's a weird repeat here, that's like 15 seconds apart, deal with it. So yeah, you have your first piece of evidence, and then your reasoning that just explains, why is making that millions and billions of dollars good? Because it is good, even if, I'm not going to get into a debate whether having millionaires and billionaires is a good thing or a bad thing, but when money is moving through businesses and creating jobs, it's a good thing. But also then if you would put like, okay, no, development does not mean progress. And you can put, the first piece of evidence, like I said, according to the map, the buffalo population, you can put evidence one, and don't put that there. One, according to the map, the buffalo population was virtually destroyed in less than 50 years. And then your reasoning, explain why that is a bad thing. That's pretty much it. And obviously in this part, don't put evidence one and reasoning one, but it would look like this. You would put, according to the map, the buffalo population was virtually destroyed in less than 50 years. And then you're going to explain why is that a bad thing. And then you're just going to do that for evidence two. And do your same thing, reasoning, explaining why that is a good or a bad thing. And then your closure. Or if you want to do evidence three and reasoning three, I would go ahead and do that because there's plenty of evidence for either argument. So that's pretty much the assignment. Not a whole lot to it, just a quick paragraph using 2 or 3 pieces of evidence and explanation. And again, all I'm asking is that you use your own thinking, pull it from these resources. Don't just pull a whole paragraph from Google. It's not hard for me to figure that out. Not that I'm that smart, but there are plenty of tools to help figure that out. So anyway, that being said, I think you guys are going to do good with this. So as always, if you need help, watch this video again and then reach out, and I will see everyone in class. Bye.